X and Y games, they introduced gimmicks. Gimmicks allow you and your Pokemon to battle differently. This in many different ways. They could either give them fancy hats or make them big. The first gimmick introduced was Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution always consists of giving a Pokemon 100 more base stat points and sometimes rearranging them to allow them to use it more effectively. This allows for older Pokemon to be brung back into the spotlight since they are fan favourites, but they aren't as strong, so these Mega Evolutions allow them to get stronger and allow them to have that attention again. In Legends EA, they seem to have changed this a bit though, because they allowed newer Pokemon and strong Pokemon to get Mega Evolutions because they are fan favourites, so they gave us what we wanted. This did produce a problem though. Since these Mega Evolutions were so powerful, you had to have one on your team, and you always had to build a team around a Mega Evolution, which allowed for little team diversity. Problem was very prevalent during competitive play. Big Six. The Big Six consisted of Mega Kangaskhan with stacking power-up punches just to keep getting that physical attack buff. And if you didn't want Mega Kangaskhan, this Mega Salamence just make the wound hurt. Whoever made primals not count as Mega Evolutions actually just hates society. This is disgusting. Both Groudon and Kyogre were disgusting. Oh god, no, please, no! Another cool thing about Mega Evolutions are their designs. It redesigns the Pokemon to make it look sick. The year that Mega Evolution was introduced was an interesting year for competitive Pokemon, because this allowed strong Pokemon in, and also weak Pokemon to get a bit of time to try and to counter the stronger ones. But leading back to that problem earlier on about diversity, that most of the Pokemon were just primal evolutions, and you would sprinkle one Mega Evolution in, and that was about it. This could make it feel quite dry, as you're seeing the same Pokemon and the same tactics over and over again, so this wasn't really too healthy for the competitive environment. The next on the hit list is Z-moves. Z-moves are just essentially a move, but better. Although there is a lot of Z-moves, there's not a lot of variety to these moves. Normally they do one big, strong attack, and then that's kind of it. There's obviously exceptions, but they're not really that interesting. Another big problem with them is how long the animations are. And I understand the first time you watch them, they're cool and they're sick and you're engaged. But if you're using these moves over and over again because it's a good Z move, then you're going to be stuck there for ages watching a move every time you want to use it. As you can see in the World Finals, you're only going to see them twice in a game, which means they're less prevalent, but you have to use them more skillfully. But my own personal opinion coming out here, I believe it lessens the diversity of tactics, since you're just limited to what Pokemon can hit hardest with the Z move. But it's also very positive because it means the strats aren't too wild. There wasn't a Z move that really took over the scene. There were a lot of different Z moves you saw. There was a lot of room for different types of Z move tactics. So really there is two sides to the coin here. I think Z-moves were a positive addition, but probably just needed a bit more variety. But apart from that, I think it is a really good addition, but just needs a little bit more creativity. Imagine Z-moves, but you're big, and you get 3. Now I welcome you to Dynamax. Dynamax allows your Pokemon to get double the HP, and will give every move they use a buff. When I say buff, I mean things like raising your special attack, raising your defense, or lowering your opponent's defense. So competitively, this is a really interesting gimmick. This leaves a lot of room for Pokemon to achieve things it wants to do, whether it wants to raise its own attack and support its team, or whether it wants to debuff the enemy team and make their lives harder. You bring Gigantamax Pokemon into play. This is kind of like an evolution, but it doesn't really boost your stats anymore. It just gives your Pokemon a unique design and will boost their attack of their type. For example, Gigantamax Charizard, once it uses G-Max Wildfire move, it will continue to do damage over 5 turns, chipping away at their opponent's health. In an average playthrough, I find this quite enjoyable because the moves are fast, you're not sitting there too long to wait for them to use, and it benefits the battle in a way where it's not too strong, but it really does have a significant impact. And they made sure that this was an integral part of the game, as in Dynamax raids, and as in gym battles, it made sure that it felt present, but it wasn't forcing it in your face. Remember that hat from earlier on? Well, here it is. Terastallization allows your Pokemon to change type. This changes how gimmicks work, because most gimmicks involve buffing your Pokemon, but this one allows you to change its chemistry completely. So for example, a Pokemon that's 4 times weak to ground will now be immune because they've Terastallized into a flying type. But also, if you're happy with your Pokemon's type, you can Terastallize into its own type and then get a buff on your moves. Now, competitively, this completely changes everything, because now Pokemon that struggled due to their typing are now able to be a lot better. Now, if you want to be the biggest rat on Earth, you'll pick Shedinja. Now, out there are some rats that will use Terra Normal Shedinja. Now, an explanation, if you Terra type him into normal, he will lose most of his weaknesses, and his ability, Wonder Guard, you can only damage him with weaknesses. So if you don't have a fighting type, literally game over. You cannot do anything to him unless you have a status move. As you could probably tell, the one I think is the worst gimmick, but I don't think is bad by any means, is Z-moves. They're just not that interesting. It's like a one and done thing, and then it's overdone. I think Dynamax comes next because it's interesting, it provides cool things, but it's just like a better version of Z-moves. It's what Z-moves should have been. I don't think it's like a much of an original idea. And then after that, I have Terastallization. I think it's great. I think it changes the game completely, and it's fun and it's enjoyable. Finally, and definitely with a lot of bias, Mega Evolutions. They're interesting, they're balanced, excluding a couple, but it's interesting, keeps the game fun, and it's not boring, it's not overdone. It's just a fun mechanic, hence why it's the most loved. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.